daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the show. The typical Daily Newcastle has turned into the Daily England for the 2 weeks in the October period. I'm Michael Grahamslaw and joining me today is Iain Mackay as we break down England's 3-0 victory over Wales in the Alzheimer Society International. Iain, it's good to have you back with us. How are you doing?
Doing great, and I was really pleased that the whole game was dedicated to the Alzheimer's cause, because
Yes.
I'm feeling, actually, at the age that I've got to, that I might be tapping into some of their resources very soon.
Well, let's hope not. And if they do, hopefully with friendlies like that, there's a lot of money in reserve for you. But let's set the scene of the game. It was a game where England didn't just win. They absolutely flattened Wales, particularly in that first 20 minutes. Job done, 3 goals. But before we get into the game itself, let's talk selection. Thomas Tuchel went pretty strong once again. Were you surprised about the strength of the team, given the fact it's a friendly?
He didn't put any bad players into the squad, though, did he? So,
True.
I think we're always going to have a good team when you look at it on paper lined up against Wales. No disrespect to Wales. I was quite surprised Wales went as strong as they did, because they've got a really, really big match on
Against
Monday
Belgium,
or Tuesday
yeah.
at Belgium. To be fair, when this friendly was organised, I'm sure it sounded like a good idea at the time, but I'm not sure it was the match that Bellamy wanted to get ready
No,
for
absolutely
Belgium.
not.
Particularly not the way that their boys were running around in the first half an hour anyway.
100%. I think when you're considering they went 3-0 down in similar time to Belgium last time out, to do it in the game before that game, it's going to be quite concerning for Bellamy indeed. I will go on to Bellamy a bit later in the episode, because the lineup, as you say, it was a bit surprising. In fact, let's just do it now. But Wales were miles off it, weren't they? And you said, as you said, Bellamy went strong with no reward, really. Do you think the approach he had was wrong? It's a friendly. Why are you playing your best players? And most importantly, why are you trying to match a team like England when you can do what Rob Page did and just put an extra player behind the ball and keep it quiet for the first 20 minutes? Do you think Bellamy got it wrong?
I don't know if he got it wrong. It might have been experimenting, because I know Bellamy, obviously, we know him as a forward at Newcastle for a brief moment, and 6 or 7 other Premier League teams. But he always wants to be on the front foot. He said beforehand he wouldn't park the bus. He wanted to get onto the front foot.
Yeah.
And I think if you're going to try that against Belgium in your important game, then you might want to try it against England in a friendly, just to see how effective it is. The answer to which is not very, if you're going to be 3 down after 20 minutes.
But
that was the problem. Their press wasn't hard enough to stop us from just passing it between them. I thought we were quite good playing out from the back, actually. Accurate passing, good close control, ball out to Saka and Gordon, who both seemed up for it very, very quickly. I thought as well, I don't know if we're going to get onto individual performances, I thought Jed Spence played a lot better than I was expecting him to. He seemed to really click with Gordon in that first half.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is interesting if we're in the market for a fullback come summer. But yeah, I don't know if it was a mistake by Bellamy, and maybe he was testing the water to see if it's an approach that he could legitimately take against Belgium in a game that they would love to win. And as I say, if it was, then I don't think he'd be trying the same tactics against Belgium. I think he'd be playing the double pivot at the back and keeping it tight and playing on the counter, which is what they should have done.
I think he's got to against Belgium, and obviously this isn't a Wales podcast. It's not even an England podcast technically, but it's one of those where you were looking at Wales and you were thinking, for them, this is a real concern, because they just seem to have nothing up front. Every time they would get it out of the back four, there was nobody in midfield, nobody on the wings really making themselves available, and then England would just win it back so quickly. You mentioned there Jed Spence as well. We'll go into the lineup now, and will start at left back unconventionally. And he's unconventional playing there, really, because he was originally a winger, moved back to right back, and now he's playing left back for Spurs in England. So I'm still a bit unconvinced by him, as you mentioned earlier. Not really the kind of player you expect to see for England in that position. But as you say, he had a great link up with Gordon in that first half. And when England's left back position is as it is right now, I mean, the only other available option was Miles Lewis-Skelly, who's, let's be honest, not really set the world alight and isn't playing for Arsenal this season. So, Jed Spence, would you say he's done enough to earn a spot against, well, let's not say against Latvia, because there will be rotation, but in November, do you think he's maybe put himself in Tuchel's thoughts of he can start in those two big games?
Well, I think he's certainly. I was quite impressed with him in the first half. He didn't really get put
Agreed.
under any pressure to see what he was like defensively, which you probably do need
No,
to
true.
test at a left back, because Lewis Hall can look really, really good going forward. But then he's got it going back the other way, same as Tino. So they're
Yeah,
both good in both directions. And Jed Spence, ex-winger, is obviously going to be good coming forward. I did like the link-up play with Gordon. Um,
yeah, they were very good.
what is the alternative, though? Because if the alternative is trying to put Dan Burn in at left back, then I'd rather have Jed Spence, if I'm honest. Sorry, Dan. You've got to be centre half or nowhere.
Yeah, particularly in England. I think the five left backs people are thinking of for England is obviously Lewis Hall, Tino Livramento, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Jed Spence, and then there was another one. Oh, Luke Shaw, if he comes back and is playing properly for Manchester United. There's also Tyreek Mitchell of Crystal Palace, but he doesn't seem to be getting much of a look in. So I think when you look at that England team, as good as I think Tino Livramento is, Lewis Hall is, it is the weakest position on the pitch by a country mile. And I think any one of those players with a good season this year could play at the World Cup in that position.
Yeah,
But do you think after that game there, do you think Jed Spence has maybe put himself in with a shout? As you mentioned, we need to see how he is defensively. I don't think you're really
absolutely.
going to see that against Serbia and Albania either. But he had a really good game, didn't he?
I don't think he did himself any harm at all, and you can only do as well as the opposition that are in front of you. Wales are
Yeah,
quite good opposition. I think we were that good in the first half,
they
and
were
a lot of
excellent.
it was because of the link-up play coming out of defence, which he was key to.
Yeah,
Um, but he didn't sort of lose his head once he crossed over the halfway line, um, which we saw we saw Kieran Trippier do when he was playing left back.
yeah,
I thought it was good. I think you're right. I think it's wide open. I'm hoping Lewis Hall comes back because I think 3 or 4 months of Lewis Hall as he was in the first part of last season, that would cement
have
his
a great
position at
shot.
the left back role.
Yeah,
But
he'd have a great chance.
but he's not doing it yet. So we've just got to
No,
see, haven't we? In the interim period, you need somebody who is a safe pair of hands, and Jed Spence did nothing to harm his chances last night. And as I say,
absolutely.
I'd far rather he was him being good attacking than trying to get Dan Burn to do left back down there because, well, I never feel safe with Dan Burn at left back at Newcastle, let alone going another level up.
No, absolutely not. I mean, thankfully for England, Dan Burn is often used at centre back instead of left back. But Thomas Tuchel and Eddie Howe must be reading from different hymn sheets because he has been all right there for us this season. But he normally plays at centre back. But yesterday it was Mark Gahey and John Stones who played there for many. I think I think I'm with them. To be honest, they are England's best centre back pairing, particularly in games like this where they're playing out from the back. Would they be your two picks for the World Cup if they're both fit, or would you say Konsa and Dan Burn are in there?
I would say that I like Concert as much as I like Gahey,
Mm-hmm.
and Stones is kind of made of glass.
He is.
So I think Konza needs plenty of experience because I think Konza is a fantastic. I mean, he played right back last night,
Yeah.
2 nights ago. Last night was it last night? God, I don't know what day it is. He
yeah,
played right back last night, and I thought he did really well there as well. But I think he's an
100%.
excellent centre half. Um, and the thing is, if you play 6, 7 games in the space of 3 or 4 weeks, then you need some rotation, don't you? Um,
100%.
Dan Ben. Dan Burn is a safe head. I was going to say pair of hands, but they wouldn't make him play in goal. Dan Burn
Let's hope not.
if Dan Burn is building the defensive wall to defend, then again he's a very good stand-in for either of those guys. But
100%.
not coming forward. Not if we're playing out from the back. Bless
Yeah.
him. Dan Burn's distribution is limited.
Yeah,
But
it's a
yeah,
weak part of his game, but defending, obviously, if you're playing someone like a Belgium who are going to try and hoof it in that, let's say a Norway with their three attackers, Haaland, Strand Larsen and Soloff, all big guys, you're going to need a Dan Burn in there. But against Wales, I know it was Kiefer Moore up front, but it wasn't really needed for Dan Burn. But the last question I'm going to ask you in this part is about Rice and former Geordie Elliot Anderson. Obviously, Eddie Howe has been saying in the press the last few days that if it was up to him, Anderson would still be at Newcastle, and he didn't want to sell him, but we had to. Anderson's still a bit of a wild card in that midfield, but from what you've seen in the last 3 games, is Anderson the central midfielder that complements Declan Rice the most, and therefore makes them England's best pairing in centre midfield? I'm starting to believe that, but what do you think?
I think I think that he compliments Declan Rice to allow Declan Rice to get forward a little bit more. Maybe that's because it was against Wales.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were lining up as a double pivot as defensive midfielders, they had enough freedom last night to both get forward pretty well.
True.
Anderson is fabulous, good first touch. Apart from when Bruno's sneaking up behind him and he gives a penalty away, of course. But I do like Anderson. There are so many midfielders though that aren't in this team
Yeah.
that I feel you have to try to accommodate without looking like a complete fool if it all goes wrong for not having, for example, a Cole Palmer in there or a Jude Bellingham in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he would end at first choice. But so far, he did really well against Wales. He was man of the match in the previous 2 internationals. I'm
Yeah.
delighted for him if he's starting to be a name in a 25-man squad for every tournament, then he probably deserves it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think what he allows Rice to do is he allows Rice to get forward a bit more. We saw it against Serbia. It felt like Declan Rice could have scored 4 or 5 if he was a striker, but his positioning, he was basically playing in what the role that Rodgers was playing against Wales. And he was absolutely fantastic. But as you mentioned, the likes of Bellingham, Palmer, Foden, all not even in the squad. They've all got a
And
year as well.
and Adam Wharton, if you want to look to the
Yeah,
future, is fantastic midfielder. I can
brilliant player,
remember
yeah.
was it the weekend when Jack Grealish got the Man of the Match award against Palace, and he
Yes,
said actually this should have gone to Adam Wharton, not me, because
yeah,
even he was impressed with how Wharton bossed that midfield, certainly for the first hour.
yeah,
I think he's a
incredible player.
great player, but can't even get in the squad yet, and that's with Bellingham and Palmer and Foden injured, and he can't even
Yeah,
make a 23. We've got an abundance of riches in midfield, which is great. If we can find 5 or 6 that interchange without the quality drop in, that's World Cup winning organisation. But
yeah, 100%.
I hope Anderson's one of them. But time will tell, won't it?
Yeah, 100%. Any one of them can make a difference. And if you're looking to make a difference, you should check out our next advert, which is Bionique.
Your body
Perfect
is
again.
unique. And Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bionique, the world's most personalised supplements. Bionique provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bionique. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now. Your body is unique.
You know what the thing is? I knew that was going to do that there because I looked at my monitor and it was highlighted and I couldn't stop it from being highlighted without clicking it again and interrupting it. But I was prepared for it that time.
Good.
Don't know why that happens so much. It's so annoying.
It's not
But
that little
it's
infinity button that's clicked on.
no, that's always That's always as it should be. So I never know. But yes, back to England versus Wales, and welcome back. Let's talk through the goals. We spoke a bit on the lineup. There's a few players we didn't cover, one of which, Morgan Rogers. 2 good games for England in a row now. He was very good against Serbia. Now he's done the same against Wales. He hasn't really done it in a Villa shirt this season. But do you think doing it on the big stage for England, well, not really the big stage, but doing it for England, do you think this is like a sort of Harry Maguire situation where it elevates his status in the squad and really gives him a chance of making that World Cup squad despite the talent we have in that number 10 position?
I think he's got to be included. He's different, isn't he? He's different.
Very
Took his
different,
goal
yeah.
really well. Although, to be fair,
Good.
I think he should have gone and bought Mark Gay a beer afterwards for that assist, because Gay was the only one who
Brilliant,
thought,
isn't it?
I can keep this in, and he did,
Yeah.
and he played an excellent ball. He took it well. That's exactly the same pullback that Gordon managed to air shoot against Barcelona and not even touch the ball with. So Rodgers took it well. I think he's a really good player. I do,
Yeah, he's
and
excellent.
maybe he's happier because Konsa was behind him and Watkins was up front. I don't know, but there were 3. Last night was the first time in I don't know how many years, they did say on the telly, that there wasn't a first teamer from Manchester United, Chelsea, or Liverpool. Was it Man City or
Wow.
Liverpool? Ours.
Man
I think it
United
was
or Liverpool? Man United,
Man
Liverpool, or
United,
Chelsea?
Liverpool, Chelsea. Yes, none of them playing.
Yeah.
So, Newcastle and Villa well represented. It's
Absolutely.
good.
Villa had 3 representatives, which it seems to be that'd be unheard of a few years back. Excellent they've done to get those players in, and it's not new signings really. It's players that Unai Emery has built up, such as Morgan Rogers and the man I'm going to go on to next, Ollie Watkins. He's the one that gets the second goal. It is the easiest finish you will ever see in your life. A great work again from Morgan Rogers, though. And you mentioned the chemistry there between Rogers and Watkins.
He
Having
knows he's
those
on the
2
back
in the
post,
squad,
doesn't he? He
yeah,
knows he's on the back post.
those 2 coming in off the bench for a game, let's say the World Cup, those 2 know each other so well that you're almost thinking that could be your first and second substitution at the World Cup, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Rogers and Watkins coming on. Do you think they've both cemented their place in that squad, possibly?
Well, I think Watkins. I'm struggling to think of anybody who fits in between Kane and Watkins.
Yeah,
It's
I
English.
think
There are good
Rashford is
strikers out
probably the
there,
closest.
but they're not. Yeah, but Rashford is as close. But Rashford came on to play left wing, and then when Watkins went off injured, it was Gordon that moved over to centre forward, and Rashford stuck to the left. So I'm not sure Rashford likes playing centre forward, or Tuchel thinks
No.
he's as good playing centre forward. So yeah, I think Watkins, yes. Morgan Rogers is in a very congested, talented pool of 15 or 18 midfield players that
Yeah.
he's going to have to pick 6 or 7 from. So he just has to keep going. He just has to keep going. Did you notice on that second goal, Mark Gahey's fabulous dummy, where it looked to everybody as though he was going to head it in from 2 yards, but it didn't get his head to it?
I didn't know. But to be honest, given the game that he had, again, he was excellent. He could do anything, and I believe that he did it on purpose. He had an absolutely excellent game at the back.
He is
And to
good.
be honest, you can see why he's been linked with an 80-odd million pound move to Newcastle last year, then a move to Liverpool this year, and Palace have really got a diamond on their hands. It'd be a real shame if they ended up losing him for free. But the third goal, Bukayo Saka gets his 13th goal for England. Where do you place him among England's elite? Is he one of the first names on the team sheet for you?
I don't think we've got anybody else to play on the right wing. He's the first name as a right winger. That position's
True.
his, I would say, precisely because he could do what he did last night,
Yeah.
which was fantastic. I think I read today, correct me if I'm wrong, by scoring 13 goals for England, he's the top Arsenal goal scorer in
That's
the Premier
correct.
League era to play for England. 13 goals. That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, I think when you think about Arsenal, the brilliant players for England have all been sort of at the back. your Tony Adams and stuff like that. So they've had a couple of decent attacking players, but Arsenal have always been the heart of the defence. So it's really good to see Bukayo Saka coming in and doing so well. You mentioned there a real lack of talent on the wings, and when he's not available, obviously. And to be honest, I think you're absolutely right. The only you could put Jarrod Bowen in there, but he's rarely trusted to start for England. Eze could potentially play across the free, but it was Madueke who's been in there when Saka's not been around, and he's basically Saka's understudy at club level now as well. So, and I don't think he scores enough goals. I think he's got the one for England now. I'm not sure how many he's got in his entire career, but I would hazard it's under 30, which, he's 23 or something. So that sounds worse than what it is, but there's not really enough goals in that attacking three. And I think you're completely right with that, where England probably needs Saka to play on that right wing. And then on the left wing, well, I don't know. Who do you put there? Do you keep Gordon there? You maybe go for Rashford because he does score?
First half, I thought Gordon, that was the best I've seen Gordon play. And I've seen nearly all the matches he's played for Newcastle this year.
Yeah.
That was his best performance of the season. He was very good. Rashford's going to have to do it for a bit longer, particularly at Barcelona, for me to be convinced again. A year or two ago, I wouldn't have thought there was even a contest. Rashford was fantastic. Everything he touched turned to goals. But I've just seen him be disappointing for so long. He needs to kind of reprove himself. Other than Rashford, I think Gordon's got the left. Eze could come in, but I think Eze's another one that fits into the number 10 role, really, to use him properly.
100%.
It's not as mad as putting Cole Palmer on the left wing, which I think Gareth Southgate was quite keen to do. But these are central midfielders, and we've got so many of them. It's not a bad thing. It just means that you might start the game with Bellingham, Palmer, and Foden sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
What a fantastic second half we would have there.
Yeah, it's a luxury of riches, isn't it? As Bellamy said before the game. We'll go into a few additional things that happened after the game in a couple of moments. But for now, could you give me the second advert of the evening?
I am ready and waiting and willing. Go. Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencaster came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencaster.
Absolutely beautiful, my darling.
Thank you.
Fantastic. One thing worth highlighting, and he is a Mackham, so we hate to do it on the Daily Newcastle podcast, but Jordan Pickford now holds the record for most consecutive clean sheets by an England goalkeeper, and that includes Gordon Banks. Do you think Pickford's now getting to the point where he is maybe one of England's best goalkeepers ever, or do you think the stats flatter him?
I think this run has been a useful run of games with Andorra shoved in there twice, Latvia. But that's not fair to say that, because there have also been some clean sheets against some half-decent teams. Pickford, despite him coming from Sunderland, is a fantastic goalkeeper. I don't think there's anybody English in the Premier League to get anywhere near him. And the stats flatter him because he's been good that many times. If you compare him to other great England goalkeepers like David Seaman, Peter Shilton, Ray Clements, it's Pickford that's been in goal when we've got through to finals of Euros and World Cups and things.
Yeah.
Or semi-finals. So, yeah, he's a Mackham. His arms are too short. But he is probably getting on for greatness. If he can be in goal next year and we win the World Cup, then...
imagine.
He'll end up with his face on a stamp.
Yeah, we'll have to bring that dinosaur all over that people have in the crowd, because it's going to be one of them. He's going to have his name etched in England history, and arguably going to be one of Sunderland's greatest ever players, which is a real shame, but he is an incredible talent. So
So you can't begrudge him. I've enjoyed him playing so many times for England now. I now don't begrudge him playing well for Everton. Do you know what I mean? Like Jordan
Yeah,
Henderson. We hated Jordan Henderson when he went to Liverpool and started winning everything. But now
yeah, prick.
he's had a little bit of a torrid time and he's still doing it at Brentford at 35. I think,
Yeah,
I've just got to admire these guys, even though they come from Sunderland.
yeah, you're 100% right. Actually, when they're playing for Liverpool, you're sitting there going, oh, "He's had another good game. What an absolute prick!" And then he goes to Saudi, and you're like, "Way, well, we're right." And then he goes to Ajax, doesn't really get on there, but wins the fans, and you're like, "Oh, that's quite nice." Then comes to Brentford, and you're like, "Oh, he's doing so well. Well, how good for him." And then you're sitting there going, "Hang on, he's a Mackham. I can't be doing
Oh,
that."
yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
it is one of those. We don't like success unless it's for us. But there was something after the game. Thomas Tuchel in his press conference made a bit of a dig at the fans, and to be honest, I completely agree. He said Wembley was too silent. He criticised the atmosphere. I mean, the game hadn't even started, and Wales dominated the atmosphere with the booing of the national anthem. Do you agree with him, Iain, or do you think that's a friendly all over? You're not really going to get an atmosphere in a friendly when you've had finals recently. What do you think?
I sat recently and watched Newcastle put 4 past Bradford City in our first round of the Carabao Cup. Bradford outsang Newcastle by a factor of 10 from start to finish because it's a big game
True.
for them. We just sat and watched, admired the football, counted the goals, but there wasn't anything. There was no jeopardy, and I think
Yeah.
that might have been with it being a friendly and with us starting. So we scored after 2 minutes,
Yeah.
and then after 10, and then after 20. I mean, nobody was. I admitted to you, didn't I, that I loved the first half, but because of my lots of driving this week and a long day at work, by the time they'd finished all of their chat at half time, I'd already gone to sleep and I slept through the second half, which apparently was something I should have organised to do anyway because there wasn't
Yeah, it
much
was pretty
happening.
poor.
So
Thankfully.
yeah, I think if that is a World Cup quarter final in America and there's 10,000 England fans, you will hear a much bigger noise.
Yeah, I completely agree. But for friendlies and World Cup qualifiers, how do you think we improve the atmosphere? Do we think maybe we need to send more games up north to maybe one St James's Park? What do you think? Should England games be held more than just Wembley?
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, Wembley is. I don't know if Wales would have played a friendly without coming to Wembley, though. Certainly,
Maybe
that was the
not.
first time Carl Darlow's ever played at Wembley, and probably the last because he's with Leeds now, isn't he?
Yeah, forget that.
Sorry, Carl. Well, he was injured when Newcastle got there, and he was injured when
Yeah.
whoever it was he was there before with got there.
Leeds.
Forest.
I think it was. I think it was Leeds. I think it was
Did he
Leeds in
miss a playoff
playoffs.
final? Missed a playoff
Yeah,
final, yeah. So anyway, yeah, I bet 20 minutes in he was thinking, "I'm glad I've never played here before." Um,
don't like
You might
this.
be right. You might be right. A smaller ground with a full house of 45, 50,000, much closer environment was bound to improve the atmosphere. I still don't know if a friendly against Wales would get everybody really worked up. In the
No.
old days, they'd play, or in the under 21s, they played a friendly at, let's say, at St James's Park, and that would be the match that Jacob Murphy would make his debut for England. They'd put one or
Yeah,
two of the home players in when it's a friendly to guarantee that
just to
the
get the
crowd was
atmosphere.
was filled up and the local people wanted to come and cheer somebody on. So I don't know if
Yeah,
they can do that. But to be fair, this international break, it's unnecessary, isn't it? I mean, take him to
yeah.
St
I mean,
George's
most of them
Park
are.
and train for a fortnight. But don't bother playing a friendly against Wales and then
Yeah,
can't believe the Premier League is suspended for a fortnight so that we can get ready to tackle Latvia. Well, I think I said it
yeah,
in a previous podcast. Gather up all of those players that are not making the first team for anybody, put them on a plane to go and play at Latvia. They'll still come back with 3 or 4-0 win.
Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? I mean, Jacob Murphy would definitely get his first England goal. He'd be up there. The quiz questions in a few years' time. Who are the players with one cap, one goal? You'd be going David Nugent, Jacob Murphy. Absolutely fantastic.
Harvey Barnes.
But yeah, for England, Harvey Barnes, yes. Absolutely fantastic. So that's all for today's episode. Big thank you, Ian, for joining me. England dominate Wales, cruise to another win. The unbeaten run continues. The only team we've conceded against under Tuchel was Senegal, and we're not going to talk about how that went. Next up is Latvia. We'll have a preview for that game as well. But for now, we'll see you later.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.